All right, good evening, everyone. We are live. Welcome back, everyone. It's Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we get together and informally we talk about the 10 keys to success, the wealth formula. I have my good friend Tony here, who I have a lot of respect for. He's one of the top realtors in Ontario, probably throughout North America, in fact, and teaches people how to create wealth through real estate and passive income. And I have my amazing friend Shopi, Dr. Shopi Chanda. You're going to get to know her. I call her my health guru. Whether it's your image from the inside out, right, or yoga or eating healthy, find out from Dr. Shopi, right? Even if it's on a discovery call, or hire her for your personal coach to learn how you can have a healthier mindset because your health is your wealth. Would you guys agree with that? And
Absolutely.
young Mr. Luis Martinez, I'm telling you, I call him the Mexican stallion. If you want to be featured on a podcast, please reach out to him because his podcast, Luis Martinez Show, is absolutely amazing. And he's also helping people create wealth through real estate as well. He's a top producing real mortgage broker in his field. So, in terms of talking about wealth creation, I can't think of a better group of individual to be able to talk about that together tonight. So everyone, welcome, welcome. Why don't we go in a circle? We'll start with Shopi, and then Tony, and then Lewis, and as other people come on, we can kind of pivot from that. But maybe 60 seconds. Let's start off with tell us a little bit who you are, and who you are, and I think I kind of shared, but who you are and what do you do? Like, what is your superpower? What you do?
That's very, very nicely put, Gordon. Hi, everyone. My name is Shilpi Chanda. I'm the CEO and founder of Shilpi Chanda International. In few countries, I'm known for my health coaching, my meditation, instruction, and all the stuff. And for me, I think the most important thing, the superpower, I would say, is positivity. Just believing that magic exists. I just believe in that. That's in like I think it's 60 seconds for me. Thank you.
Is amazing. Thank you. And Tony, let's go with Tony Ning.
Well, my name is Tony Ning. I immigrated to Canada when I was 7 years old, so that was quite some time ago. But anyways, I had a very challenging life. Wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Everything I had to do, I had to do. Met all the challenges myself. I think the my superpower is my resilience, my persistence, my consistency, and working through every problem that came up in my life and finding a solution. I think that's the biggest thing. When you are in a negative frame of mind, it's very difficult to find solutions. So I always put myself into a positive frame of mind. I always network with people that know more than I do. And trying to find solutions for every situation I come across, whatever it is, you have to figure out what it is your situation is, and what can you do to solve it. So I think my biggest superpower is my ability to analyze a problem and be a problem solver for myself and for people of this entire planet as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Tony. And Lewis, tell us a little about yourself and what you think your superpowers are.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me again here, Gordon. Uh, for those who don't know me, my name is Luis Martinez. I'm Mexican and soon to be Canadian in March 1st. I'm going to
Yay!
make my oath. I'm super excited about it.
That's
Awesome.
Yeah.
Stays
amazing.
away.
Yes. And yeah, my superpower, I think, is that I'm always willing to learn in order for me to help others and help myself, right? Because if you want to help others, you need to help yourself first, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's one of my superpowers that I'm always willing to learn from others, from myself. But I'm a firm believer that we can learn from other people's mistake, and I've been practicing that since I was a young guy. Looking into my sister, I have a older sister, and I was looking into the mistakes that she was doing, right? And I always avoid to do those mistakes so I don't go on that path or whatever, blah 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 she was doing, right? So learning by others, like you can have better uh, path kind of thing sometimes, right? So I think that's my superpower: willingness to learn in order for me to help myself and help others.
Amazing. Awesome. Hey, Bailey, welcome back. If you could share with us in 60 seconds or
Yay!
so who you are and your superpowers.
I've been
That's what you
having these issues today. I don't know why. Hello, everyone. I am Lester Bailey, and I'm a retired Chicago police officer, a bodyguard, a podcaster, an influencer. I am a movie mogul. I wear so many different hats, but my biggest superpower is I connect well with people no matter
Mm,
who they are. I've learned to, be a connecting force for everyone, sharing my wisdom and understanding of years of going through, successes and failures, or should I say failures and successes, however you want to stir them. So that's my biggest superpower, being able to teach from what I have learned and to help others so that way they don't have to step in the same pits that I fell into.
amazing. Well, thank you everyone for just a quick introduction of yourselves. So tonight's topic, everyone, is going to be on failures and successes. Perhaps you have an experience of your own that you can share, or someone you know on failures, if they had any, and successes and how they overcome perhaps some of their failures to be successful today. Part of our topic is also the six ghosts of fears. Napoleon Hill spoke Think and Grow Rich, talks about the six different ghosts of fears, and perhaps maybe one of our panelists tonight can talk about all six or one of the six. Before we jump into it, if you guys wouldn't mind, I'd love to share with you that Dr. Shopi Chanda, who's here, myself, a number of individuals, 18 of us got together and wrote a new book, Land for Success, Untold Story, Volume 3, that is launching on Amazon. And you can go and grab a copy of the Kindle version of that book right now. You can go to Amazon right now and just look up Land for Success, Volume 3, or the WhatsApp number that's in front of you right now. Add that to your WhatsApp and just text the message Shopi. Okay. Because Shopi's story, I read it. I love it. It's inspiring. If you guys want to read her story in the entire book, all you have to do is, again, add this number to your WhatsApp, text the message Shopi, or any of your favorite authors. You can type my name if you want. My friend Sai Lee, you can type Sai. You can type Swapna. You can type Shopi's sister Shanta's name, and it will immediately send you a link where you can actually download a copy of Land for Success, Untold Stories for a limited time for only 99 cents. And you do not have to have a Kindle reader, by the way. Some people ask me, do I need to have a Kindle reader? No. You can go and download a copy anyways. It'll definitely help all of us, or all the authors with our little project, to get to bestseller on Amazon. Okay, because we want to get it to bestseller so it'll rank higher on Google algorithms, so we can inspire even more people. Our goal is to inspire a million readers out there. So if you're one of those million readers, please go ahead and download a copy of the book. But more importantly, read it and then go and give us a 5-star review. Okay. If you don't think we deserve a 5-star, don't give us a review at all. Okay. Wait till we deserve a 5-star. And I can share with you both Tony Ning and Lester Bailey are also co-authors in volume 2 of Landed for Success as well. It is just an incredible series. So Landed for Success, there you go, Lester. Landed for Success, Untold Stories. And so how fitting for us today then to be talking about failures and successes. So we're going to start with Dr. Shobi Chanda, then Tony Ning, and then Louise and Lester. So in terms of failures and successes, Shopi, can you share with us maybe what your thoughts are around those two words of that topic?
That's very interesting, actually. For me, over the years, the term failure and success, the meaning of it totally, completely changed. For me, failures don't exist. It's just something, a situation that you are not able to get the outcome as you desire. It's not failure for me. And if you're asking for success, for me it is a perspective, because from where I stand, for me something might be like I would say it's a success, and for someone else it would be just a normal thing. So failures and successes is just perspective. For me, it's all experiences that we need to learn life and know ourselves better, how we handle situations, how life gives us an opportunity to know ourselves more, better, be better human beings. I think that's the concept that I go with when it comes to failures and successes, because definition wise, I think for be success, if someone really says put it in words, I would say if you can achieve whatever you want to achieve at the point in time, whatever that is, that's success. And it depends on person to person as perspective. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's an important part. So Dr. Supri, that was an amazing part of your story. We're going to have to hear more. So who's next in line? Was it Tony or Luis?
I think it was me.
Tony.
Okay, let's hear this story. I may need a sandwich just to hear your story. Go ahead, Tony.
Go get a sandwich. Okay, thank you for having me here. For me, I've learned over the years that there's no such thing as failure, and there is success, of course, but the terminology is very, very misinterpreted in my opinion, because it's like day and night, right? You don't know what day looks like if you don't have night. It's a contrast, right? And failure is really just a learning experience, and you have to have learning experience to become successful. There's just no way. Like when we all can walk right now, right? But when we first start walking as a baby, do you count every time you fall down as a failure? You don't, because you have to fall down in order to be able to walk one day, right? So just like success in business, you have to fail or have those learning experience before you can be successful. So they go hand in hand. So don't think of failure as something that's isolated. It's not. It's all part of the process. It's all part of the plan. You have to have failures in order to succeed. And the more times you fail, the more times you succeed. In fact, I haven't met one successful person in my entire life that hasn't failed. Okay, they have failed. Some of them have failed many times in business before they became the biggest businessman in the world. So don't look at failure as a termination or determination of where you are. In fact, just look at failure as just another stepping stone into where you want to go, right? And it's like when I started real estate, we used to go door knocking, right? And I don't know how many times people say no. Would you like to sell your house? No. Would you want to sell your house? No. Would you like to sell your house? No, right? So I came back all frustrated was when I was a young man to my broker, and he said, you know what? The more no's you get, it gets you closer to your yes. So don't focus on the no's, just focus on the yes. Because if it took you 100 no's to get one yes, then just do 200 no's to get two yeses, 300 no's to get three yeses. So it's really just a process. So I think if you understand that this is life, life is full of challenges, and we are here, in my opinion, to face our challenges and figure out how to solve these challenges so that we can get over to the other side and be a happier person, happier human being. And that's my take on it. Thank you very much for hearing me out.
Thank you. And that's an amazing story because the concept for people to be able to see what they actually believe is the difference between a failure and success. And that's so important because where we go from here leads to what we consider what landed for success. How do we move forward with something? So before we get too much further on, and welcome Jay, glad to have you here, and Luis, find what you believe is failure and to success.
Yeah, so failure and success, great topic. What I can say about it, I totally agree with Tony. I think it's failure and success go hand to hand, right? It's like the yin and yang, right? Uh, in my personal opinion, I believe that success is a feeling in within yourself, right? You can be successful as long as you feel successful, right? Uh, I'm going to paraphrase a partner that I'm working with. He told me once that, hey, Luis, what if instead of focusing in your competition and and focusing like how can you beat your competition, you focusing in yourself and say how can you beat yourself tomorrow, right? And that will make you successful every day, right? Because if you can do something better every day, you can succeed in something every single day. Isn't it that powerful? So when that clicked on me, I totally changed my mentality and like, you know what? There is in you have heard about it, you have read about it. I can assure you that the best competition that you or the worst competition that you have is in within yourself, is in the mirror, right? So when you learn all this kind of stuff and you are learning about more into yourself, you can learn about your failures. What are you doing wrong that you can improve yourself in order for you to succeed in whatever you're working into, right? I think people make the mistake that believe that success is have a lot of money or have a big business. You can have a small business and be super successful on one you're having, right? I think it's the concept of success and failure. It depends of the person and how you take it, right? And my personal concept is success and failures is how you take it and how you feel. I remember when I came in Canada, I was going to church to learn English with one of my best friends, and we were asked the question, are you successful? And that was a very powerful question at that time because I was just getting into Canada and I was learning English. And I remember that my friend answered the question saying, I'm not successful because I don't have what I want. And I remember that my answer was, I am super successful because I am in Canada. I might not have what I want, but I feel super successful for accomplishing this goal, right? So that's what it comes like. I think a little bit. I'm understanding myself a little bit better, and that's what I believe success and failures is. And you learn from your failures. In businesses, I have I have many failures, right? And that's how we learn. One of my biggest failures that I have in my life is in the transportation business. uh, I was blaming everything else than myself. And then I remember Jim Rohn when he's telling Mr. Shaw about what is the things that what do you think are the things that you believe that why you're not successful, and he started making a list and complaining about everything because of the government, because of this, and because so that was me in the transportation business, right? It's because of this, it's because of that, right? But I was not blaming myself, and the reality was that I didn't do my inspection in my truck. That is something that you have to do, right? And I think that most truck drivers, if they're listening to this, they're gonna find out that they don't do their daily inspection. And I failed to myself to do what I had to do, right? And I didn't want to accept it. I was just blaming in something else on someone else. I was just pointing fingers, right? Until I learned that I need to take responsibility and I have to take action on my actions, right? So that's when I learned that I can just cut my losses and move on, right? And move fast, because otherwise you can get deep in the hole. So something that I learned by that failure is that you have to cut your losses and move on, right? And then that was a basically a success for me. Besides, it was a failure. It come to the end of it was a big success for me. That's what I can. It's a great topic. I can keep talking, but it's just super deep. Like I believe that everybody has their own part of definition of success and failure, and everybody have failed in something. But the as you have heard, the concept of insanity is to make the same mistake over and over again, expecting a different result, right? And people need to learn that whether you're making a mistake or not, you need to learn, right? Like if you don't learn, like it's insane that you're not learning. Like why you're making the same mistake all over again, right? Okay, one, two times it happens. Okay, but the fourth time, okay, come on, buddy. Like learn about it, because if you're not like what are you thinking, and then we coming back to mindset. What is your mindset, right? So what kind of mindset do you have? Because why you are not willing to learn? It's because of what? Procrastinating, laziness. There's many concepts that it can get involved in this just these two words of um failure and success, right? I just love the topic. I'm sorry.
But that's fine. One of the things that if you didn't pay attention to what Lewis says is that sometimes we do the same thing often wrong. And yet it takes us a long time because that's the failure. You keep doing it wrong on purpose. If it's not working the first time the way that you thought it should work, maybe you need to adjust what you're doing so that way you can make it to the failure. Because how many of us, by really a show of hands, and I can save myself, kept trying to do it one way and found out it just wasn't working. It's like telling somebody, hey, all you have to do to lose 10 pounds is this. You've heard those stories time and time again. What does it take to lose 10 pounds? And each time we get 9.5 pounds and then we gain, we lose the 9.5, then we go back and we gain the 9.5 back plus 2 extra. What is your success and what do you see that success being? Now, I do believe in, failures and success because I know how many times that I have failed in doing certain things because I had lack of faith. I had lack of belief. I had a great friend of mine who said on this show to call procrastination, and the other one was laziness. And I walked around with those failures for a long time, for a very long time, because I didn't understand that all I had to do was to believe. Now, I was in network marketing business, and when I first got into network marketing business, I was selling crystal. I was selling glasses and plates and bells and, all the fun things that were made of crystal. So I went out and I started talking to friends, and family because I wanted to, them to be my first sales. I just knew my friends and my family were going to be my first sales. I was excited about that. And all of a sudden, after talking to several of my friends and family, I wasn't able to sell them anything. I couldn't do it. I just failed at it because I didn't understand that people were going to say no. Let me tell you, Tony Singh said it just a few moments ago. People are going to tell you no. But how many no's do you need to get in order to hear your first yes? That's a way that you know that you've gone from the failure to you have to build on that first yes. That first yes tells you what story that you can do it. So if you start focusing on the success instead of what happened before, now you know how to climb up out of a hole. And I mean, I fell in so many holes, when I was first starting network marketing. Then you get another company. And I found out one of the best things to change you from your failure to your success is to get you the right coach or mentor or both. When you get that right coach, that right mentor, that right person that feeds into you, your success gets greater. Most of us can't see how bad we are doing because we're just like a painting. We don't understand that you can't see what's going on the outside because you're in the inside of that painting. And all of a sudden, somebody sees that painting and appreciate it, but you can't appreciate it because you're in it. You're looking at what is not working for you. I remember being, in high school, for some of you all, it was yesterday. And for me, it was a few decades ago, a little bit more than a few decades ago. And in doing that, I ran a 440-yard race, and it was a nice little sprint. And I got out there at the beginning of that race, and I was running faster than everyone else. Nobody told me I have to keep that same speed for over 400 yards. And all of a sudden, the people who beat me flew right past me, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'll never do this again. My coach looked at me, and he smiled at me and says, oh, no, you're going to go back and do it again. You're just going to have to learn how to do it better. So from that point on, that was my last race that I ever lost. And it was in high school. And I ended up, getting awards for years later, learning that don't stick by what you're telling yourself. Then I was able to get into a book and watch my good friend, mentor, coach, and he gave me one line that changed my whole life. Too bad he didn't tell me that when I was young, but I didn't know him yet. And his line was, you don't have the luxury of a negative thought. Well, that's what failure is. It's your negative thinking. It's your way of saying, I can't do this. That's what failure actually is. Your belief is your success. How many times will it take you to believe in you because I can't make you believe in you, and no one on this panel can make you believe in you. But we can coach you, we can mentor you, we can tell you what has happened. For those of you all that really want to see the difference, when you pick up that book that Dr. So was talking about, Landed for Success, these untold stories, when you actually pick up that book, read it, see what people have had to go through in order to become that success. It doesn't matter what you think the success is what they saw, and maybe you can learn the lessons from there. So I'm going to turn this back over to Dr. So, because I would like to hear what he thought his success and failures were. So Gordon, please join us in and let us know your eyesight on this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lester. I love that you can't afford the luxury of a negative thought. And as I listen to Dr. Shopee and Tony talk about, in their opinion, there's no failure, right? Failure is not even part of the vocabulary. I love that mindset. And Zig Ziglar says, I think failure is only a stepping stone to success. And Lewis, you purchased a copy of Landed for Success today. And so I just want to say thank you, because J.J. Cantham, one of the co-founders of Landed for Success, just sent me a screenshot that shows that in Canada, we have already hit #1 bestseller in the entrepreneurship category. So Dr. Shopee, congratulations. You are already a #1 bestseller.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing. And we're tracking, guys. We are tracking fast in the United States as well. So if you are here, and I really believe one of the ways to create wealth, like what we talked about last week, is creating masterminds and master alliances. So the alliances that we have with so many amazing individuals in the US, your sister, who's also an author, right? Shopee, and Tom Chesser, who's doing press releases and Business Innovator magazine that just came out. And when you go there, you see Damon Johns from the Shark Tank on there. You see Mark Cuban from the Shark Tank. And it's just absolutely incredible. So thank you, everyone who's been supporting. If you want to buy a copy of the book, it's on Amazon, or the number that's on your screen. Text to that number on your WhatsApp. Use WhatsApp, send a WhatsApp message, and just type the word Shopee. Okay, you guys know Dr. Shopee Chan, a supporter. Okay, type Shopee, or type my name, Gordon, or type any one of your favorite authors' names, and it will send you a link. With limited time, you can download a copy for only 99 cents. So for me, failure, yeah, I had a 49% average in English in school, you guys. 49% English in my last year of high school. And to this day, I cannot figure out how I passed, because my teachers gave me a 51% that I didn't deserve. And I don't know if they did that because they felt sorry for me and wanted to get me out of the school, or they truly wanted to help promote me, right? And so for somebody who's an immigrant kid who, failed English, to be able to now have published dozens of books and helped hundreds of individuals become international bestsellers, for me, that's truly feeling your way to the top, right? So I don't know how to write, but our editors, Lindsay and Jenny and Kathy in the past, who have just been brilliant in helping our authors write, do the editing and the writing. So success, from what we talked about last week, is creating a master alliance and surrounding yourself with brilliant people, right? Who are smarter than me, who are more skillful than me, like the individuals that are here right now. So I want to turn this now over to Tony. And then Tony, I'm going to put you on the spot. And failures and success, can you think of maybe a situation where yourself or someone who actually experienced failure related to real estate, because you're about creating wealth in real estate, who actually, had a failure in real estate, but they ended up succeeding anyways?
Wow. Where do I start? You better grab a sandwich, Lester. Um, so failures in real estate. Well, I remember back in 1990. I don't share this story too much, but I had a real estate brokerage. I had about 100 agents working for me at the time, and I was the broker of record. and the market tanked. I don't know if you guys remember that, but if you maybe some of you are not old enough to remember, but back in those days, I had a friend that was also in real estate, and he bought a home for about 700,000, which was a lot of money back in those days. Those homes are selling for like $2 million now, but $700,000, and he had to refinance the home, and it didn't appraise out. It appraised for $495,000, and his mortgage was exceeding that. So he had to basically he had to basically let the bank take it over, and put the home under power sale, and he was totally devastated. And I remember, how successful we all were at one time, and all of a sudden this person that I looked up to with a lot of wealth and a lot of success in his life, all of a sudden he was pretty much bankrupt, to be honest with you. And he had a hard time recovering from that, because his mindset wasn't quite there to recover. And that taught me a lot. That taught me a lot about mindset. It taught me a lot about appreciation. It taught me a lot about being grateful. I think, a lot of us forget that just being born by itself is a major, major accomplishment. The other day I was watching Netflix or something on TV, and they were talking about this woman was pregnant, and she was going through all kinds of, I don't know, endometriosis. I don't know what they're called, and all kinds of problems, and a lot of women are having premature babies, and babies that are born with all types of defects. Just for us to be here and to be healthy, I swear to God, this is amazing. Okay, if you figure out the odds of you being here, at the age that we're at, and to be here, to be surrounded by people like the group here today, what are the odds? I mean, you have to win the Powerball, the $10 million Powerball, maybe 10 times in a row. Those are probably the kind of odds that it takes for you to be here and to be who you are today. So just being grateful, being appreciative of being appreciative, like Lewis said, just to be in Canada. My goodness. I mean, I come from another country, and I know what Canada is like. And there's a lot of people I know that were born in Canada that don't appreciate it. They just throw the opportunities away. So for me, success and failure it comes down to, whatever you do in life, you got to set yourself up to be the most appreciative person in the world, to be the most grateful for what you have, who you have, and to be able to help others. I think that's the key. Helping others basically gives you the soul that you need to help yourself. That's my interpretation. So yeah, I seen people having, and even now, I mean, I hear of a lot of people that have bought in 2022, and now the property is worth less than what they paid for it, and the mortgage. Some of them took a variable rate mortgage, and mortgage rates jumped up. Lewis can probably comment on that. And now they can't afford it. Now they can't afford it, or some people just got laid off for no reason. And it's an environment where a lot of people are getting hurt right now. So my job is to go out there and try and help these people as much as possible. With some strategies as to how they can basically recover from this they call failure. I don't see it as a failure, because every time you do something that doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, it's a learning experience. And if you take it as a learning experience, you will be able to overcome it. But if you take it as a terminal case, like it's a terminal illness, then you're gonna get buried by the problem, and the negativity and the pessimism that you're gonna build around it. So just clear the way and say, listen, I think the song Annie, like there's got to be tomorrow, whatever the song is. You know what I'm saying? I look at life that way. Every day is a great day. Every day on earth, healthy and have energy, is a great day. And
Wow.
and my fear in life is to know that I'm not doing everything I can to maximize my potential. I have to put the pedal to the metal and do everything I can to reach the purpose, to reach the value, to reach the point where I feel great about my life and happy about my life. And that's what I strive for every single day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tony. Tony and I have been in the real estate industry for 30 plus years. He's still a realtor. I'm not a realtor anymore, but both Tony and I have experienced selling in the same neighborhood homes that were selling from between $60,000 to $100,000.
Oh yeah.
And today, some of those same homes are worth like $1, $2 to $3 million. Can you imagine? Who would
Yeah.
ever thought when those homes, right, Tony, when
Oh
in
yeah.
Lesterville, like for 60 grand, it would be worth, we'd be thinking, we'd be lucky if it hit 100. Now you can't buy a garage for $1 million in that neighborhood. Crazy, right? So you
Mhm.
guys, connect with Tony in terms of creating wealth. Now, failures and successes. I'm going to jump to Shopi, Lewis, and then Lester. Shopi, talk to us about. I'm going to put you on the spot. Talk to us about your health, because I think there was a time when, I don't know if you want to use the word failure, but there was a challenge in your life and health, and then how did you overcome that challenge?
That's absolutely perfect. You just read my mind, maybe, because this is something when there is the failure and success. My brain directly goes to that point in time in my life when actually I was expecting, and everything was fine. But after that, I think slowly as people gain weight, I did, but not that much. But there was complications in my delivery, and after that, the way I looked at myself in the mirror, I felt like Shilpi is lost somewhere, because I returned heavier than swollen. Then I went to the hospital. I felt like I just lost my life. I lost myself. I just couldn't hold my baby because it was hurting. My health was
Mm.
like, it was a time where I would really think that I really went to a part in my life that I felt really bad, sad, and I would look at myself and think that, oh my God, I like Shilpi doesn't exist anymore. It's like a mother of a child, but there is no Shilpi, because Shilpi used to be nice and all that. So, thanks to my coaching, thanks to the training that I had, it gave me the tools, honestly, to come out of it. And I really feel this is something that I would tell to all the mothers, that you can do it. I did it. You can do it too. I lost more than 40 pounds of weight, and I think the first time when I saw, after a certain period of time, the weighing scales get stuck and you don't lose weight anymore, and then it becomes very unbearable for a person, when you know that you're doing everything but it's not working. So my training helped me really, and I lost so much of weight. And then I now know that how you can manage your weight, because losing weight is not everything. So for me, I think success is not only achieving something what you want, but also enjoying it. Now I know how I can manage my weight and maintain my weight. And for the grace of God, I have not gained weight like before ever now. And now I know how to eat and how to maintain my weight. So for me, I think that's one of the thing that, and I really help people also to do the same, mothers. And like, I think this is something, it brightens my soul when I think what I achieved. It wasn't easy, and it's never easy to maintain weight, but yes, that I would say is a practical example in my life, how I um, took one situation. I wouldn't say failure as such, but a situation in my life which really made me feel not very positive. But I think that coming out of that gave me a lot of positivity and lot of hope. And now I know how to do things, how to maintain weight, and how to help others doing the same. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gordon, for actually asking that. Thank you.
Wow, you're welcome. Lester's got something I was hoping maybe he could talk about policing and health, and right after
Oh,
Mr. Luis Martinez. Could we do that, Lester? I'm going to get you to talk about failure and successes with your health and how you overcame that.
oh,
Um, so, Lewis, confidence. One of the six ghosts of fear is people are afraid of criticism, right? And I think we're afraid of criticism sometimes because we don't have that confidence. And I'm sure when she
Yes.
was going through her health issue, Tony can jump in later because he lost over 70 plus pounds, right? I wish we had more time, you guys. But Lewis, talk to us about one of the six ghosts of fears is the fear of criticism.
Hmm.
Have you ever experienced criticism that may have affected you negatively? and how did you
Oh,
overcome it?
100%. I think that's a human thing that we all have at some point. And criticism is something very common, right? For me, on a personal experience, it's English, right? What are you gonna think? What other people are gonna think about my English? And I got on a point that I don't care anymore. I overcome my fear of criticism on my English. Whether or not my English is well or not, I give myself to get understood, right? And that's what it matters to me at the end of the day, right? Criticism in many things. How do you look, or things like that, right? Like I don't know. I think that's something that you have to go through life, right? And I don't know. Like, I think criticism is just something that you have to learn how to overcome while you going through life, right? Whatever the case is, like in my case on English, like I have to overcome with that fear of criticism, what people are going to say, or whatever is happening. You know what, whatever, you are just learning and you're passing through this, and that's a second language, so I have to go through a total mindset process to overcome this fear and stay right now here and overcoming my fears, and just confronting them, instead of just backing off and like, you know what, I don't have time for this because I'm feared that what people are going to think about my English, right? So that's what I can say about it. Like, that's a very very personal thing that I have still. And if you can notice, sometimes I'm very nervous from what I'm talking, because I still have on my subconscious, like, what are they going to think, or am I saying it wrong, am I like whatever, you know what? But I just keep pushing myself through it, and at some point I know that I'm going to come with more confidence, as you were saying, right? But it comes with time. So that's when it comes to persistence, right? Be persistent in what you're doing and keep learning about it, and be strong enough and work on your mindset so you can overcome those fears. And criticism is, I think, is one of the biggest one that everybody have at some point in certain parts of their lives.
Amazing,
I love
amazing.
that, Tony. I mean, Lewis, because that's funny to me. And people talk about learning the language, right? You imagine me being a police officer. I just kind of to tell you this. And I worked in a multicultural district, whereas I had to speak to people who spoke Spanish, so I had to learn Spanish. I had people who spoke Chinese, and it had to be Mandarin, so I had to learn Mandarin. I had people from another country that spoke French. And luckily I learned French. And when you're going through all these languages, we all have a fear of, do we have it right? I don't care
Yeah.
what the language is. You wonder, and I know, Louis, when you sat there and you said that, just think if you're not sure what language you're thinking in. So many times when you're trying to talk to someone and you're remembering the word, but what language am I trying to say? And still speak your own language because you worry about that. But that fear of criticism is really real, everyone. I want you to understand that, because people will criticize anything about anyone at any time. So these are things you have to overcome. I like the subject here in which we're talking about, and that was one of the six ghosts of fear, of course, is ill health. And many of us go through ill health, but we don't want to admit it. We want to keep it secret. We want not the world to know about what we have gone through. And I remember, being young on the police department, and I always wanted to make sure, because I got on the police department weighing 130 pounds. I was a strapping big guy at 130 pounds. And most of the people that I had to engage with outweighed me by almost 130 pounds. So I looked like a little rag doll, whereas I had an incident where somebody, of course, picked me up, threw me across a couch 3 times. And it's always great to see yourself flying in the air when you're the small guy. So I went to the gym and I started lifting weights, and I got really, really good at lifting weights. Whereas I was able to finally bench press over 325 pounds. I got so strong at that. And I've always made sure that I stayed in good health. But in my lean years, or my last years of being on the job, I got lazy. I got lazy. I became diabetic, and I didn't do anything to get my body back in good shape. I was at failure, as the saying goes. And I couldn't believe that I'd let myself go that well, from being able to give somebody a head start and catch them, catch them so fast that they never knew that I was in the race with them. But I started getting so lazy. I told you, my friend, procrastination and laziness, they were sitting right together with me. And I had to finally get up off the couch, and I talked to myself and I said, you know what? I'm going to take a small walk to my mailbox, which is down the block, because I live in an area now where it's no longer attached to the house, it's down the block. So I decided to get up and take this small little walk. And this small little walk was only 377 steps. And when I got there, it was like, I am so tired. Really, this doesn't make any sense, because I used to be in great health. I let myself get out of control. And I want you all to understand, when you're thinking about that ill health, what do you feel when you get out of control, when you couldn't hold on to something? And I finally started saying, okay, I'm going to walk every day. I'm going to make sure that I can succeed where I have failed. And I wanted to go from that 377 steps going one way, and I had to go back the other way. I wanted to build that up from one step at a time, to be able to walk a mile, and then 2 miles. And I started walking 10 miles a day, because the ill health part was, if I would have accepted the diagnosis that I was given, I would have stayed there. But my mindset, and remember, everything that we talk about, and all of these 6 ghosts of fear, being in poverty, criticism, ill health, the loss of someone, old age, and death, those are real, but how do they serve you? And you have to learn how to, I like how Robin Robinson said it on the show Good Morning America. She says, make your mess your message. So I had to give myself a new message, a new way of thinking, a new empowerment, because things happen in your life that you have nothing to do with. But let's go further. Let's see what we can do. And, I always remember how Les Brown started. If you want something bad enough that you're willing to fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, you have to get to that area in your life that you don't let the little things that seem so big stop you. Dr. James Dentley once said this, and I believe this was from, I'm not sure if it was Jim Rome or whom, that says, when you're going through hell, don't stop. Gordon, back to you. I had to get that one in. I wanted to make sure everybody knew it. And
Wow, I love that.
I couldn't see what was going on. So I gave you a couple different ways to look at it. Go ahead, Dr. So. I'm glad to have you back.
Don't stop, right? You and your health journey, I used to joke about how Lester, as a police officer, right, in his peak performance, was like Superman. He would give the bad guys a 3-block head start, and he still chased them down, right? And then let his health get away from him, and now he's walking 10 miles a day. There was a time when every morning Lester would walk, and I would encourage you, Lester, to do it again, because you were inspiring the world. Walking with his phone every morning, doing a Facebook Live, talking about your health is your wealth. He started with like 77 steps that turned into 10 miles a day. Tony, would you mind sharing with us I'm going to give you 60 seconds to tell us about your health journey.
Wow, 60 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got really heavy because I was focusing on work, and I wasn't focusing on my diet. So I ate everything in sight, and I gained a lot of weight. And it got to the point where my heart wasn't working very well. I had hard time breathing. I mean, never mind a mile. If I just walked 20 steps, I had to stop because I couldn't breathe anymore. So anyways, I went in and they told me I have to lose the weight. They checked my heart. They said, you got blockages. If you don't lose the weight, you're not gonna be around much longer. So anyways, so it was either that or have an open heart surgery. And I don't like having an open heart surgery. So I said, I'm going to lose the weight. So I tried to figure out how to lose the weight. To make it really short in 60 seconds, the way to do it is to cut out things like sugar, cut out things like seed oil, like vegetable oils. It's really bad for you. It's highly processed. Stay away from processed foods and eat things that are real, whole foods. And then the other thing that I would incorporate with that is what I call intermittent fasting. Cut your eat window down to whatever you can handle, usually minimum six hours of eat window. The reason why is because every time you eat, you spike your insulin. Insulin is very toxic in your body and causes harm. Insulin is a growth hormone and causes things to grow. Anyways, I don't want to get into too much of that. You don't want to spike your insulin over and over again. You just want to spike it once in a day if you can, or twice in a day if you can. But keep your eat window small. Stay away from all the processed foods, and if you keep at it long enough, you will lose the weight.
Wow. Thank
That
you,
is so
Tony. Thank
absolutely
you.
true.
Yeah, 70 pounds I lost, guys. 70 pounds. It took me 8 months, I think, to do it, but I was very, very like like Lester walking 10 miles. I did my my eat window every single day, and that's how I do it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Dr. Shopi, would you like to add to that at all about, is there anything else? Tony talked about dieting. I'm not going to say it's failure that he had, he was overweight, because can you imagine me going on a diet or losing 100 pounds? Hey,
I think the most important thing that I feel that everyone should not possess, but I think try to acquire is the intention. If you have the intention to lose weight, if you have the intention to be rich, if you have the intention to be successful by your definition, if you have the intention to read a book, if you have the intention, the main important thing is to have an intention, and then is the action. First you have to have the intention to whatever it is, to lose weight, to run 1,000 miles. I do my walk every day, but first comes the intention, your mindset. Like I really really admire the thought process that everything that you want to achieve in life is between these two fingers, from here to here. Everything is in your mind. So be it weight loss, be it anything, of course you should, if you cannot do it on your own, I would suggest, it's not like directed to me, but consult with an professional or someone who is something to go with when it is like weight loss or achieving anything. I think you have to, if you can have a partner to have accountability with, I think that would be great. I think it's like positivity, intentions, and actions, in short.
amazing. Amazing. Accountability partner. By the way, again, congratulations, Dr. Shopi Chanda. I've got some messages. I think you now hit 3 different categories in Canada where you're number one best-selling author. And I see
Thank
in the
you.
US, you have literally, since we started this meeting an hour ago, jumped from 505 ranked to number 50 and number 60 in 2 different categories. So it looks like you're hitting towards international best-selling author.
Wow.
So I'm
I'm so excited.
congratulations. I'm going to have Lewis talk about anything he would like to talk about failures and success in 60 to 90 seconds, and have Chief Bailey wrap up for us. Okay.
Yes, I want to share health too. Oh, good.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Louis.
So, yeah, so when I was in transportation, I had health issues too. So, and that was because I was just driving and driving and driving, right? And I think I was just thinking when everybody was talking, like how we lose control when we just focus in something and then we lost focus in something else, right? So in my case, I was just focusing on driving and driving and driving, making the miles, and then I lost focusing on my health. I used to be super fit and skinny and all well, blah blah blah, right? And then I just gained weight at some point that I was drinking a lot of coffee, a lot of energy drinks, and I started having heart issues, right? So at some point that I had to go to the doctor because I was having those arrhythmias things, right? And I had to like I had to put a device so I can measure my heartbeats for 2 weeks, right? And I remember I messaged a friend in Mexico that she's a doctor and like, hey, what's going on? Like I'm doing this and blah blah blah. Long story short, the test was okay, my heart was in good conditions, but my diet was not, right? Because I was consuming a lot of energy drinks, so I have to quit coffee for a while. I still drinking coffee, by the way, but not as much as before. And but the energy drink, so it was just a bad habit, right? And then it took me like time to process that information and like, okay, I need to quit this because if I really want to get better, like I'm going to lose more if like focusing on this and focusing on my health, because without my temple I can do anything, right? So I think the health is the most important part, and mostly like your body in general. Like we have to take care of ourselves, whether your goal is to look fit or just to lose some kilos, lose some pounds, right? It's just to keep that in mind, that this is our temple and we have to respect it, right? In any way, like we have to respect our temples, because with our temple we cannot be us, right? But at the same time, if you lose part of yourself, like you can overcome that and become better, because there is always a way to make it happen. But that's what I can say, Gordon,
Thank
about
you
health
so much.
in my
Thank you. Thank you.
experience.
Thank you. Well, Chief Bailey, why don't you bring this home for us?
Well, one of the stories I want everybody to know, and this is one of the parts about being, the wealth formula. When you're hearing these stories and you can find out that you are probably in one of these stories that we have all lived. And it's so important. If you're not, there's a guy that most of you all have heard about, and his name was, of course, Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs was one successful person in his lifetime. He invented the Apple phone. But the funny part about him inventing the Apple phone, before he was able to do it, before he got it in production, his own company, his own company fired him. I'm still trying to find out, how do you fire the person that owns the company? But his own company had fired him. They let him go because they didn't believe in something that he could do. They said no one would actually use a telephone and a computer at the same time. It can't work. It won't happen. And there is no use for it. And he actually proved to the world. And how many of you all today use your phone and use the computer on your phone? For somebody, they said that this poem describes them. Here's to the ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They are not fond of the rules. They have no respect for the status quo. I love that statement. You can quote them, disagree with them. You can glorify or vilify them. But the one thing that you cannot do is ignore them, because they're the ones who change things. They push the human race forward. While some see them as the crazy ones, we see the genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. I want you to remember, you are the world changer. Whatever significance that you think that you don't have, you may have that one idea that creates an idea for someone else to build something else, to build it. Because any building is built from the lowest level to the highest level. And you may be that building block. So be ready to take your success to a different level. Be ready to move beyond your own capacity, because with friends, with people you surround yourself with, who will lift you up, will change everything in your life. So I want to thank everyone for coming. I want you to make sure you get your copy of the 10 Keys of Success, the Wealth Formula. And, you can text Wealth Formula to 647 647-765-2069. Again, that's 647 765-2069 in your wealth formula. Sometimes your brain says, slow down. Thank you. Thank you,
Awesome.
Luis and Gordon, for putting
Thank
that
you,
up
Lester.
there. And
Yeah.
we'll see.
Amazing. Lester, I was going to say, just before we go
ahead.
Any final thoughts from Tony, Lewis, and Dr. Shilpi?
I just want to thank for this opportunity, for this moment, because everything I think happens for a reason, and this is amazing. Thank you. I feel so happy and delighted
Thank you.
because of the status I get.
Amazing. You're like now a #1 best-selling author. Yeah. Tony, you're muted, my friend. You're muted.
Just want to say this is a excellent platform, and for all the folks out there that are watching it, you should get involved and get with the Landed for Success and join this group of people. It will, it will inspire you. It will take you to the next level. If business, health, spirituality, whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life, this is the place that you want to be at, because everybody here is striving to be better than themselves, better than they were yesterday, and we're all going there together. So come join the party and have some fun with us.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you so
Luis, bring us
much.
home.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I cannot thank you enough for having me here again.
Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
always a pleasure to be here with all of you. Whoever is here in the call, like any Wednesday, like I always appreciate your time and your wisdom and you sharing whatever we're talking about. And I'm super grateful for today and for every day that we share together. Thank you so much for putting this together, Gordon.
Oh, all of us. Thank you, Lewis. Right? It's not just me, it's all of us here together.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, everyone.
everyone.
See you guys next week.